First of all, I'm sorry that I haven't uploaded anything in a while. Well, I was gonna explain why, but this video is here to explain why. It's also here for a couple of other reasons. And if you read the name of the video, then you probably already know. My mom died 2 weeks ago, I guess. I'm bad with time. I'm not sure when she died. I know that sounds horrible, but still. And I just don't have much energy left to make something funny and interesting. And I want my videos to be funny and interesting. So, in order to have something to upload, I'm gonna be making this video, plus the fact that I just want to make this video. This video is going to be like I don't want to call it an homage, but you know, because that's a silly word. But I mean, it's gonna be a look on my mom, because she was my mom, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why she was my mom. Well, it all started 25 years ago. Technically 9 months before that. My mom and my dad already had a kid at the time, my brother. He's 4 years older than me. So, you know, he's always been a douchebag. Because that's what happens. No, I'm just kidding. They decided to have another kid, or they had another kid by accident. You know, I'm not really sure, but either way, they had me, and everything was cool for a while, you know. I learned to walk and stuff. I learned to drive a bike. Oh, I remember the first time I was on a bike. I think it was my dad, so it's not really relevant, but whatever. My dad or my mom, it might have been my mom, held the thing at the back, the thing you hold on to, or put packages on, I guess. She held on to that and pushed me forward while I was pretending to ride the bike. And I was like, oh, this is so easy, I'm not falling over at all. And then she just let go and just pushed me away. And since I couldn't drive a bike, I fell over and hurt myself. And I was like, why did she do that? That was so mean, because I didn't actually figure out the fact that she might actually do that to learn me to bike. But yeah, that's actually one of the first memories I have of a parent. I just don't remember which one it is. But anyway, I'm not gonna like bore you with every bit of information about stuff. I am gonna show you some photos though, like this one for example. This is my old house. It's not my house, but it's the house we lived in Höllviken, which is a part of Skåne in Sweden. None of that made sense to you, I'm sure. The dog to the right is Carmen. The dog to the left is Sita. We named them that so it would be like Carmen Sita, you know, like in that song. And the dog in the middle must be my dog. Must be Fritte. Fritz. Fritjof. It must be. I can't... Yeah, it has to be. And this is my mom. It's telling you that, like, after I explain who the dogs are. But this is my mom as a young person. She was all over the dogs. Not in a bad way. She always went to agility trainings and agility contests and just normal contests. And she later on actually became an agility instructor and actually had classes and all. She didn't really do it. I mean, she was good at that because she was smart, but her own dogs she kind of pampered too much. She didn't tell them to shut up when she should have. And all that. Our dogs have always been a bit bad at following orders. But it's just because we like them too much. That's a problem. I mean, look at them. Look how cute they are. Look at my dog there, running around, all energetic. Like he's gonna grow up to be a very strong and stuff dog, or not. Well, anyway, this is not about my dog. This is about my mom. So yeah, she was a doctor's secretary, which is almost being a nurse, right? So that's kind of good, right? Maybe. Her biggest hobby was probably the dogs. We had 3 dogs. Later on, we got 2 more from the same kennel that my dog is from. They trickled down to just 2, but whatever. She really, really liked hanging out with the dogs. And I mean, you need a hobby, otherwise you're just gonna go insane. In this case, though, she kind of went insane either way, because she lived with my dad, and they didn't get along, which is why they broke up. I don't have any photos of my dad, because I hate him more than life itself, so I don't save photos, but they broke up, and I was left alone with my dad. That was before I started hating him. And my mom actually moved to the other side of Sweden because she met a guy there. And I didn't meet her for the longest while. I don't remember how many years I lived alone. But still, yeah. After a while, my dad threw me out on the street, so I had to move somewhere. So I moved to my mom, because she took me in without even questioning it. And ever since that day, she's been kind of overprotective of me, because I think she felt that it was her fault what happened. That she should have taken care of me better. But I mean, it wasn't her fault. She couldn't keep staying with my dad, and she had another guy she was interested in. Like, personal interests are important, just as protecting your kids are important. She thought I was safe with my dad. Anyone can do that mistake. So anyway, this photo is one of the rare ones I have of her. Actually, I don't think she likes having her photo taken. She looks young, but she kind of she colors her hair. She smokes a lot. She did smoke. She had to stop. She smoked a lot. When she tried to stop, she moved on to doing snuff, whatever it's called, tobacco. She doesn't really take care of her body, but she's stubborn, and that will keep her alive forever, is what we thought. Sadly, that was not the case. But still, this is my favorite photo of her, because it just shows how I saw her as a person. I had a better one, but I lost it. When she moved up to this part of Sweden, she lost track of my brother, because they didn't really get along. He hated her for no real describable reason, he admitted later on. But still, they had never talked. My mom got a hemorrhage. Long story, let's just call it a hemorrhage. And she was in the hospital. It's actually kind of a sad story, because she was complaining about headaches all the time. And I wanted her to help me with some government problems that I couldn't. I'm bad at those. She said that she couldn't help me because she didn't feel good at all. Her head was just exploding, and she felt like she was gonna faint. She couldn't see, barely, she said, and I thought she was just over-exaggerating, because she was kind of a hypochondriac. So I just kind of just ignore that, and she did come to the meeting that I needed help with without even telling me, even though she could barely see and had headaches. And I was like worried because I noticed that she actually did seem like she was nothing, like something was bad with her. And yeah, just a week or something, or yeah, a couple of weeks later, I find that her work friends have actually forced her to go to a doctor because something is wrong, and they tell me that she has a hemorrhage. She can't barely see on her one side, and she keeps forgetting words, and her brain is just a mumbly mess. She can still talk fairly normal and all that. So at that point it was just like, oh, that's dangerous. It might end up badly. However, she did get cured from it. It healed, basically. It could have gone bad, but it didn't. So when my brother heard about it, his first reaction was just getting stunned, first of all, and then realizing that he should probably come up here and meet my mom, even though they haven't talked in ages. Because if he doesn't meet her now, then he might not meet her at all. And he thought about it, and he realized that there's no real reason to be mad at her. It was kind of just childish to begin with. So he called her for the first time. And my mom was extremely happy about that. And I'm extremely happy that she got a chance to actually meet and talk with my brother again after all those years. He came up here and we celebrated. We didn't celebrate, we just kind of had a bit of a summertime, went to the zoo, talking and stuff. My mom was so happy sometimes, most of the time. And we actually felt like a family again, except for my dad, but I don't think anyone missed him because he was kind of a loony, and not the fun kind. Yeah. Then my brother went back home, and we were kind of just expecting the whole thing to just be a distant memory, even though my mom still couldn't quite come back to her old form because of, being able to speak badly and all. You know what I mean. Because of the hemorrhage. However, just a couple of months later, she gets... short story... long story short, she gets brain cancer. She just randomly gets brain cancer after she just had a hemorrhage. And of course I'm thinking, oh, she's just being afraid and like being a hypochondriac again. Who gets a... How does that happen? But no, her head was hurting and she couldn't think at all. She couldn't speak properly. And I thought she was just worrying about stuff. She was stressing out way too much. Because she had like 6 good men. It's like a thing where you take care of somebody's life. And she took care of 6 people's lives. And that's an insane thing, because I need a good man. I can't even take care of my life alone. But yeah, she got worse and worse. And again, the people at her work, they took her into the hospital because she I don't know what happened exactly, but it sounded like she had some kind of attack or something. Which is not a good thing to hear. And she was bedridden for a while, and they actually needed to do what's it called? Radiation treatment on her. I think they were gonna do chemotherapy or something, but I don't think they did. Well, maybe. Either way, they did that. She lost all of her hair, which, if you see the photos, she takes care of her hair, and ever since she was young, that's the hairstyle she's had. She's never really cut her hair, and it was who she was. And now all of a sudden she's bald. She had to get a wig. She got out of the hospital. She got a wig and all that. tried to get into it again, but she couldn't speak properly and she couldn't remember stuff, and if you asked her questions, she just freaked out because it was too stressful. So it was almost impossible to talk to her, which is a shame because, you know, she's always been there for me to talk to. However, the radiation did not work. She started getting worse again. And they couldn't operate it either because it was several small things that kept growing in her brain, like several all over the place. They could not operate. And she just got worse and worse. She couldn't speak basically at all. At the end, she couldn't use her part of her body just stopped working. Her left part, I think it was. Arne, which is he was her fiance, but they broke it up. But then they got back together again and all that. It's like they like each other so much that they keep fighting. It's one of those couples, you know the type. He was there all the time taking care of her, and in the end he switched diapers and all that, which is a giant thing to do, considering the fact that he could easily just leave and just go, oh, I'm sorry, and just leave. It would be easier for him if he did, but thankfully he stuck around with my mom because it helped her so much. And yeah, long story short, my mom died in her sleep, very, very calmly. My brother had just come up a third time and just talked to her. I had just talked to her. It was like she gave up because she had said all of her goodbyes and all the papers were in order. It was she did everything she could up until the end. Yet she died. And yeah, I'm going to make a video about Asperger's and death because I have Asperger's and I react to this in ways that I didn't think I would react since I have Asperger's. Well, I'm gonna take that in the video, but this video is about Mom. I was in her apartment to doesn't matter what I was there for. After she died, I was in there all alone. I saw her jacket hanging at the door as I was leaving, and I froze, and this feeling of just realization that she's gone came over me. Her clothes, her iconic clothes that you see her in, hanging there, and nobody's using them anymore. Yeah. I have the... It's funny, I have a photo open of her where she looks really mad, and she's like, why are you talking about that? She was such a stubborn woman. I would just say that it was harsh love. Neither she nor I ever used the love word. We never hugged. But that's probably just because I have Asperger's. She knew that I didn't like getting touched and all that. It's not even something that she knew from the start. It's just something that we've always known. Because we've lived together for a long time. I mean, yeah. And ever since I moved up to this part of Sweden, lived with her, she was the only one I had to talk to, and I was almost the only one she had to talk to, except for Arne. And we became best friends, basically. And if there's one thing I would regret in all of this, it's that I didn't say that I loved her. Because she was my mom, and I mean, of course I loved her. I just never said stuff like that. So I'm making this video as a memory, I guess. Anyway, um, yeah. So I'm. I've not been feeling in the mood to make happy videos lately, but I'm getting over it. It's something that won't last forever, as mean as that sound. And for people who are wondering, if you even watched this far, I mean, if you care, then you have watched this far. But people who are wondering, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. And you don't have to worry about my mom either. It's like you don't have to care. This is just for me. Just grant me this. My brother is coming up here again to sort out, my mom's apartment. We need to pick out the stuff that actually is worth money, and some people in the family want certain things and all of that, like vultures. I don't like any of that. I don't want to go through her possessions because it still feels like it's hers. But it needs to be done. So my brother is coming up here, and it's a good thing because Christmas is almost here, and my mom is getting buried 7 days before Christmas, or 6, I don't remember. So my Christmas is not going to be very fun, and I'm happy that my brother is coming up here. And yeah, this video is very long. Hopefully. Well, I was gonna say hopefully you don't mind, but it's like it doesn't matter for you. If you don't want to watch it, then you haven't. So this is the story of my mom. I could tell you stories. I have tons of them, but I mean, those stories are personal memories, and they are for me. So just think about your own mom and your own stories, because in the end, what else do you have but stories and memories?